What's good, everyone? Today we're going to dive into Skip Bayless and his continued assault comments on Caitlin Clark right after this.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, so I'm back with another one. This is why that Skip Bayless is out on FS1 on Undisputed, because his takes on athletes is so I can't even say mind-boggling. His takes on athletes are stupid. It's really, I see why people like Jalen Rose and other athletes get at Skip, because he thinks he knows sports. Now, yeah, he's been in the game for as a journalist for a long, long period of time, but it just seems like his expectations of an athlete should always follow his criteria when it comes to it. We seen him did it against Russell Westbrook. We seen him do it a lot against LeBron. But now he's taking his whole new target to Caitlin Clark for whatever godforsaken reason. Skip Bayless seems like he has to take his frustration, his disbelief, his disappointment. 1 minute he's on Caitlin Clark's side, 1 minute he's not on Caitlin Clark's side. In his later podcast, he talked about how he feels disrespected by Caitlin Clark. Now, how in the hell that you feel like you being disrespected by Caitlin Clark because what? She doesn't play the game that you want her to play? You don't want her. No, my bad. Let me clarify that. He said he lost respect for Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? He lost respect for Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark supposed to be a scorer. She's supposed to score. She led the NCAA. She broke the NCAA record for scoring. But also, Skip, you got to realize Caitlin Clark also led the nation in steals. I mean, not steals, but assists for 3 straight years, sophomore, junior, and senior year. But nevertheless, Skip Bayless, he wants to be on Caitlin Clark's side 1 minute, and then when she doesn't do anything, he's against her. It's like he's trying to have a love-hate relationship. It's more hate than love, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? And then it takes people like Paul Pierce. I don't even count Keyshawn, because Keyshawn don't know nothing about sports. Even though he played football, he's clueless. Well, Paul Pierce, he sees it. Now, there was one point that I had to go back and do some digging too, a lot of digging, just to show how flip-floppy Skip Bayless is. In one of his videos, he said that she is his favorite athlete. He has to watch a lot of Indiana games. So I'm gonna let you listen to what he has to say first before I even dive into his latest spat about Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark just took the game over, because we've never seen anything quite like Caitlin Clark. We could argue all day and all night about who's the greatest female player ever, and you could make all kinds of cases that would be hard to dispute, but the greatest distance shooter we've ever seen by far is Caitlin Clark. She is logo threes on cue, under pressure. Gotta make them, does. She is a gifted passer. Maybe not LeBron, who's got the gift. Maybe not quite Stockton, but she's in the ballpark with Stockton. And that combination of long distance shooting and the ability to dime is extraordinary. Her mental and physical toughness is extraordinary. Her ability to make her teammates better a whole lot better than they deserve to be is extraordinary. Her team, not better than LSU's, but just because of her, they were better. And they won handily, just as they had been beaten decisively by somewhat the same team. They added, obviously, Haley Van Lith as their point guard. But pretty much the same team, led by Angel Reese, just romped and stomped in the championship game. It was 102-85 last year. Caitlin Clark is...
Now, this was Skip before Caitlin came into the league. And he said that how she's box office, how she's extraordinary, how she's a gifted scorer along with a gifted passer. Now we come to present day that she's in the league and he sits back and say, oh, well, you know, she lead the league in turnovers. She tried to make all these wild highlight passes. He says she don't have a clutch gene. She had to go out one time and get Paul Pierce had to shut her down. Caitlin, one game against the Mystics that they lost, she had 29 points, 5 for 9 from 3-point line, 13 assists, 5 steals, and 3 blocks. Something nobody in the league ever had that stat line. But it continues the same BS narrative that no matter what Caitlin Clark does, if she does good, it's not enough. If she does bad, she's not clutch. You know what I'm saying? You can't pick and choose how you want to. It's all right to critique her game and say, hey, I was to see her to do this a little bit more, but she's doing this. Caitlin even said that her game suffers from scoring when she's so focused on getting her teammates involved. And that's the detriment of having Christy Sides as your coach. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact of the matter is, if you go back and look at the All-Star game where Cheryl Miller was the coach, Cheryl Miller drew up plays for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark missed all her threes. She missed them. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, goes to where her legs is gone. You know, she don't have no more lift on it, but she still is able to pass for 10 assists to set a rookie record. She was one shot off Sue Bird's record, but she affects the game in so many ways that people is so blindly can't see that. You know, they so fixated on her scoring and shooting threes. Yeah, but she affects the game in so many other ways because you don't know when she's going to start scoring. That's the key about her. Her mental makeup is her IQ is so high to where if she decides to stop scoring, then you're going to be like, oh, Lord, we're going to have to stop her from scoring. Then guess what's going to happen? She's going to sit there and rack you up for about 10.5 assists a game because you don't know how to play her. Yeah, the whole league is always picking her up 94 feet. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to respect what she could do as a passer too, because it's not only now that you got to worry about her scoring, you got to worry about how she's going to pass and set up her teammates. And this is where Skip doesn't understand basketball. He's in that monologue I showed before she came out of college, he was saying, well, she's not as a great passer than LeBron James. I beg to differ. I think she's a hell of a passer, better passer than LeBron James. She does stuff that, I mean, LeBron makes passes, but I don't think he's that great of a passer than her. And now that Skip always trying to take even in the All-Star game, Rachel Nichols had to tell Skip how Caitlin Clark affected the game differently because guess what? She had open shots. She just missed her shots. She had 4 points, but all her points came on a fast break and her driving to the basket. But she had open 3-point shots. If she had hit them open 3-point shots, she probably would have had about 12 points. She probably would have had 12 points, 14 points in the game, along with 10 assists. Then she probably would have been the MVP of the game. But at the same time, it didn't happen that way. And this is why I continue to stress a lot and and ignore ignorance when it comes to talk about basketball when and dealing with Caitlin Clark because everybody's so fixated on her turnovers so much. Even Paul Pierce had to shut down Skip about her turnovers because I told people, I was telling people, Jordan his rookie year had 291 assists and still won Rookie of the Year. You cannot tell me that all of a sudden Caitlin Clark's turnovers is supposed to be a detriment. Her turnover assist ratio it balanced out because she's averaging almost 10 assists a game now for the last 4 or 5 games. She's averaging that. She had 19 in one game, almost had a 20-20. So what are we really talking about here, guys? See, Skip Bayless just sits back and nitpick up stuff because he don't have anything else to do anymore. His show is about to get canceled. His podcast on YouTube is trash. He talks like he's in another Twilight Zone. He don't have no kind of energy to himself. He used to have energy, be excited. Now he just talks slow and old and just trying to find everything talking. I'm gonna let y'all listen to what Paul Pierce had to say about her turnover. Then I'm gonna get to the main part of this video.
Skip, Key, she's well on her way in great company. Let me tell you this. Check this out. When you talk about the turnovers consistently, check this out. NBA history, you know who's in the top 5 turnovers category?
I can tell you number 1 is.
LeBron James is number 1.
I could have told you that.
Russell Westbrook, Carmelo, John Stockton, and Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
I would say that's pretty elite.
All right.
Everybody had the ball in their hand.
Yeah, she got the ball in her hands. Yeah, and now let's go to the WNBA.
Carmelo would be up there.
You know who's at the
I'm
top?
surprised by that, too.
Yeah.
I get Stockton, but go ahead.
Deanna Taurasi, Sue Bird, Becky Hammond, Tina Lisa Leslie. I mean, come on.
Lisa Leslie.
Yeah. We're talking about she's going to be in fine company, Skip. That means she's well on her way because these are all Hall of Famers that I just named. And so, hey, listen, she has the ball in her hand the majority of the time. She's going to make mistakes. So she's going to lead the league in assists. She's going to lead the league in turnovers for a number of years. That's just the way it goes. LeBron James leads the league in scoring all time. He has the most turnovers. That's just how it goes. So as far as me being concerned about her turnovers, I'm not concerned about that. And then check this out. Are they winning? Are they winning lately?
Yeah.
It looks like it to me.
Lately, they are.
It looks like it to me. It looks like they're going to be in the playoffs because last time I checked, they're 11-14. They're in the 7th slot. Last year, you know, they finished 13-27 last year. So they're going to eclipse their record from a year ago, and it looks like they're going to make the playoffs. So we're going to check that box off. Skip, you complained about her not stepping up in the 4th. Another 10-point game in the 4th. Check that off now. So as the season's gone on, she's continued to check off boxes that we had concerns about. Yeah, I know the turnovers, but she's in fine company. That's fine. We're not worried about that.
All right. You listen to what Paul Pierce had to say. He clarified everything that I was already talking about. Turnovers is just part of the game. When you have the ball in your hand, almost you could say what 90. I'll say 95% of the time, Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hand. She understands that for her to get her teammates involved, Erica Wheeler can't do it. Christy Wallace can't do it. Kelsey Mitchell can't do it. Even when they didn't even have Caitlin Clark last year, they was in the higher assist team. I think Erica Wheeler averaged 5 assists? Hell, 5 assists is good. It's almost like having 6 or 7 assists in the WNBA. I mean the NBA. But you think about it, Caitlin Clark is averaging 8.2 assists a game. She already has a total of 213 and only 12 to tie and 13 to break it. Their all-time record by Tisha Penicheiro. So why are we sitting here nitpicking over a rookie's game? I mean, she's doing this as a rookie. It's not like she's a 20-year vet. Hell, Diana Taurasi been in the game. She still turns the ball over. half of the guards that's in the league is not even on Caitlin Clark's level. Well, I'm talking about point guards rather, and they don't even make half of the passes as she does. She knows how to pass the ball. Like I said, her IQ is so high to where you can't understand where she's going. Even Kelsey Mitchell, her teammates say you have to have the same kind of IQ as Caitlin is to understand how Caitlin plays the game. That's any great. Skip raised so many times about how high IQ LeBron is. You know what I'm saying? Then, but he was crucial about LeBron. Say, why he took the last shot, or he don't have the clutch gene. It's not always about you taking the last shot. If the last shot is for you to take, then you take it. But if you find another opportunity to pass it up and somebody else have a better shot to take it for the last shot, why not do that? Now, back to Caitlin's defense, Chrissy Sides don't never draw up the last play for her star player anyway to give her a chance to take the last shot. So we already seen that in a couple of games this year. So, but look at it, Jordan's championship runs. Two of them, he passed it up. One to BJ Armstrong and the other one to Steve Kerr. So therefore, great players make great plays. They don't always have to take the last shot. Now, this is the part of the video that I want to get into because Skip said that he lost all respect for Caitlin Clark. Let's see why.
A quick word about Caitlin Clark, and that word is, huh? That's my word. Huh? What? Why? Who is she now? So, obviously, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the greatest scorer in the history of college basketball, men's or women's. And that was in large part because she was clearly the greatest distance shooter we'd ever seen in women's college basketball. I'm talking about jump shooting logo threes. Never seen anything like that. Easy range, jump shooting, not set shooting, feet on the floor, jump shooting, flicking wrist, launching from logo effortlessly, and making a good many. Here was the female Steph Curry. Yet right before your very closed eyes, Caitlin Clark has morphed into the female John Stockton, from Steph to Stockton. The other night, I was watching Caitlin's postgame, and I heard her and saw her actually say, I sometimes lose sight of the basket. I sometimes lose sight of the basket, said the greatest scorer in the history of college basketball. Think about that. I sometimes lose sight of the basket, said Caitlin Clark, meaning she's now so dedicated to, so fixated on passing the basketball that she forgets to shoot the basketball. What? Huh? Yet, as we all know, I don't need to remind you that the weight of an entire league, its ratings weight, has been placed on this young woman's slender shoulders. And at times, she clearly has crumbled under that weight, and I don't blame her. So she quickly realized she can be more consistently spectacular, can more consistently live up to her billing, to her expectations as a passer than a shooter. So right here, right now, as the WNBA has taken its Olympic break, Caitlin Clark leads the entire league. Think about this. Leads the entire league in assists by 41. She has 41 more assists than anybody in the league. I didn't see that coming. Which brings me to how she passes the basketball. Caitlin Clark will try just about any pass, anywhere, at any time. She will try to thread any needle through 3 or 4 defenders to get the ball to Aaliyah Boston, to create a viral highlight so that she can better live up to her billing. I've watched Caitlin Clark try one bad idea pass after another, one after another, after another, after another, until she also, right here, right now, leads the WNBA in turnovers by 58. I want you to let that penetrate your brain. Caitlin Clark has 58 more turnovers than any other player in the league in just 26 games. It would be almost hard to do if you were trying to throw the ball to the other team or throw it out of bounds. 58 more than anybody. It's impossibly bad, and it's obviously impossibly wrong for the Indiana Fever, yet nobody talks about it because obviously Caitlin Clark is the dark-haired golden child of the WNBA. By far the biggest reason that WNBA ratings have exploded in ways unimaginable. But yes, understand, Caitlin still attempts lots of threes. In fact, the most in the league. She shot 8 more threes than anybody else, attempted 8 more. And she's certainly running away with the distance of three-point shots attempted, because she will still launch the occasional logo 3. But she's fallen into, for her, by her college standards, a pretty terrible slump from the three-point line. So her last 7 regular season games before this break, from 3, Caitlin went 17 of 65. That's 26%. That's for her a slump. But what really shocked and disappointed me was that Caitlin Clark declined to participate in the All-Star three-point shootout, which was on the Friday night before the Saturday night game last weekend. Caitlin said she's mentally weary. I get that. She's been playing basketball for sort of 1 year straight until this break. And she said she hadn't had time to practice taking balls from racks and shooting them against the clock from 3. I understand some of that. But you know and I know, great shooters just shoot. I just thought she'd be arrogant enough, in a great way, let's just say confident enough, to just stroll out there up against all the veteran three-point shooters, just the way Larry Bird did in his three-point shooting contest days. Just stroll out there and basically say, I got now, because she's way better than they are. Or at least I thought she was.
All right. So I don't even want to listen to the rest of the ending of it, but this is what I want to take away from it. He said that he understood why she didn't want to participate in a three-point contest, because she hasn't practiced taking ball out of rack and shooting them. Plus, he said, okay, well, she just came out of college into the WNBA. But then again, he said, oh, I understand that. Okay, Skip, if you understand it, but then you turn around and say, well, if all great shooters, they just know how to will themselves. Let me bring something to your table, Skip. Michael Jordan didn't always have a great night shooting. He was always a great three-point shooter. Reggie Miller, as great as a three-point shooter he had cold nights. He was bad. He had bad shooting nights. Ray Allen has. John Stockton has. Steph Curry has. Klay Thompson has. Michael Cooper has. Larry Bird has. So let's not sit here and talk about a young lady that came straight out of college into the WNBA and had to pretty much navigate a team on the fly because her coach is so incompetent She don't understand how to put a system together to round her number one superstar, let alone her other number one pick. You see what I'm saying right now? So let that sink into your head, Skip Bayless. When you stop talking, because you sit here instead of pointing out her turnovers, say, well, she had 58 more turnovers than anybody in the league. But understand that she has 213 assists, just on the cusp of taking the number one spot of the most turnovers by a rookie in the league. So why are we sitting here focusing on her turnovers when she's the floor when she's the floor general that has to put everything in motion because her coach doesn't know how to coach her? And then you sit here with this narrative and say, well, you know what? She used to be Steph Curry, but now she's Steve Nash. What the hell? She's still Caitlin Clark. Yeah, okay, if she's taking the most threes by 8 attempts in the game and still imagine if you see if a shooter knows that, okay, the only way I'm gonna get out of the slump is to continue to shoot, no matter how bad my percentages is. 15 games left into the season. She could come out the gate in 5 of these games and shoot a clip of a good 30 to 40% to get her average back up that easy because her legs is rested, her body is rested, her mental aspect of the game is rested because she's not going constant. This is the first break she really had over a long period of time. And you're going to sit here and tell me that this young lady has lost your respect and fallen off because she doesn't fit your bill and your standards? Any basketball player knows straight out that you're going to have bad games. But what makes a great player great is they know how to affect the game in other ways. And that's why you see her when she's on the floor, teams are still worried about her being a scorer. You have seen her more drive the ball to the basket to get her buckets when her shot ain't falling from three. You have seen her set up her teammates with passing as well. So therefore, because they are so cognizant about her pulling up from three, they forget that she can drive to the basket. She gets her points that way. When she get her points, then she gets to the line and get fouled and get free throws. So she getting her points in other ways, not solely just behind the 3-point line. Last but not least, Skip Bayless, if you're going to give a take on an athlete, make sure you do your research. For you to be in the game as long as any of us has, you should know the variables of a player, their skill set, what they go through, their training, their mental aspect, the long grind of the season, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just here to say that real sports fans know the sport. I don't care if it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever the case may be. A player will always have a slump. They now will always be electric game from game. And just to critique her and say, oh, she's making these highlight passes just to get her name out there, let the conversation still be on her. Well, hell, did Magic did that? Did Jason Kidd did that? Hell, the little white boy Jason Williams, he used to make spectacular passes all the time. He wasn't a great scorer, but he could pass the hell out the ball. Hell, I watched tape on Tisha Panettiere, and she was a hell of a passer. I mean, she was like a Magic Johnson the way she passes the ball. Caitlin Clark ain't that kind of a passer, but she can pass the ball, and she does make nice passes. Her IQ is very high. So let's not do that. So again, let me know what you think about Skip Bayless and his nonsense about him losing respect for Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I could care less of what he has lost because he's pretty much lost it all from from Shannon to his show, and soon his YouTube show probably won't even be on YouTube because Skip has lost touch with reality. That's the real reason about this situation. He's lost touch with reality, and he's just trying to find anything to navigate him to get clicks or whatever the case may be. But we're not buying it over here. Over here, we're not buying it over here, Skip. Better luck. Try again. Until then, this your boy LiveWire Sports Media. You know what it is, baby. I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.